Tom Sainsbury. Kia ora, good morning.
Hi.
It's so good to see you. So good to see you in person.
Vice versa, always.
And you've just returned from Monaco, so you don't need to just rub it in for everyone.
Show off my gold. No, I couldn't get into the main casino, so...
Just explain to us why you have been in Monaco, of all places, because we like to, on Saturday mornings, we like to, in the depths of winter, we like to think about slightly more exotic, warmer climes.
Yeah. Well, I was over there a lot. It's all feeling like I'm flexing, but it's not. We scraped and saved, and we went over to the Cannes Film Festival to pitch a new film idea, right?
Right.
And while we were there, it was like there was a few kind of days floating around, so like 3 days, and we're like, I was there randomly with some other friends that were there, and we're like, let's go to Monaco for the day, because I've been obsessed with with microstates for my entire life, like all the Luxembourg.
What's your favourite microstate?
Luxembourg.
Okay, of course, yeah.
And I still haven't been. I had the opportunity
How do you
to
feel
go.
About San Marino?
I love San Marino.
Oh, how could you not?
Have you been to San Marino?
No, I haven't been to San Marino.
But
I cheer them on in the Olympics.
When you are going to San Marino, please reach out and let me know. And if it can happen, I'm joining you in San Marino. But anyway, we were there, and we spent that kind of a day there. It's all you really need in Monaco. We were there the day before the Formula One race, so they'd all set it up. So there was lots of kind of
I will be honest, this is sounding a bit like a flex. You were at the Cannes Film Festival, you had a bit of downtime just before you headed off to Cannes.
And wait until you know that I was invited into the Palace, and I'm now friends with... No, I'm not.
I was like, where's this going? Where's this going?
Wouldn't that be amazing?
George and Amal just invited me across the road. Yeah, my gosh.
You got it.
Okay, so what were your impressions of Monaco then? What is it? Because I think it looks awful from the outside. It looks like too much money, not enough taste. Or people who have... Maybe that's not fair. Maybe that's... But you know what I mean, though? It does seem a bit... It's showy. It's a showy place.
It is a showy place, but it's also kind of like... there's an element of it where they don't want to kind of be gauche. So the really wealthy people don't kind of show... It's not like Vegas where everything's kind of flashy, flashing lights and stuff like that. It's all more... It's more like implied wealth.
Right.
Which you would relate to.
I do. I relate very closely to this. Just like... How do you imply wealth?
Just the clothing is just pristine, but not showy, like perfectly.
It's like
tailored.
Okay, it's as though perfectly tailored, and it's been professionally laundered. All of your clothing has been professionally laundered. That's a flex.
That's a flex, and it's you can kind of
someone's ironed the sleeves as well as the main part of the shirt.
Yeah, you got it.
That's fancy.
And if you were to have any kind of bling, it would be your cufflinks, and that's it.
Interesting. Well, not a watch.
Oh no, yes, the watch too.
I feel like, and you need
watches.
Yeah.
And they had watch stores, and boy, were they expensive.
Were they crazy? Yeah. Because is it the Petit Philippe? That's the one where they say, I only ever see these ads when I'm like, at an airport or something.
That's the pose.
It's the one. Yeah. That's how they do it. They have the pose. But the tagline, I think it is for the Petit Philippe, they say, no one ever owns a Petit Philippe. You merely look after it for the next generation. You see, you just don't get that with your Casios.
No, you don't.
You don't.
Or your G-Shocks.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. That sounds like you would fit right in. And you can kind of appreciate that level of wealth. You mean like fewer Lamborghinis, Ferraris and stuff despite the Formula One?
Yeah, you got it.
You didn't stay around for the Formula One?
I was thinking about going for it, but the queue, because I was staying in Nice, which was a lot cheaper.
And it's just down the road, eh?
And it's just down the road. Yeah. But the next day, like the queues to get onto the train to go there, I was like, I don't have time for this, so I didn't do it.
That's a flex. That's a flex. There's the real flex. Being able to say, I'm here, I'm in Monaco, the Grand Prix on, I'm not going to go.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. How did the pitching go? Are you allowed to tell us, or is it?
It kind of like these kind of things. It's a beginning. You kind of meet these people, and then you've got to develop the relationship. And our pitch went quite well, but it's all kind of a shifting sands. No one wants to make the first move. We've got people that are kind of interested, but no one, until something comes, it all has to lock into place. So,
right. How do you pitch it? How do you pitch a film? Is it like Shark Tank?
Well, our specific thing, like most people don't.
Yeah.
But we were very kindly kind of hosted by the New Zealand Film Festival. They kind of set it up
This is after your
for
film
us.
last year, right?
That's right. Yep. They were like, "Do you have a genre piece?" And so there are 7 random international film festivals around the world, and they all select filmmakers to pitch their next idea at this. It's called the Fantastic Seven, and it's all from. So we were pitching against like an Egyptian film company, Lithuanian, the best. They were Lithuanians
Really?
are all the Lithuanians I know, and there would probably be 8.
Yep. That's more than most people know.
Are wonderfully eccentric, and these filmmakers, their film was like bonkers.
Yeah.
And they were bonkers, and I loved it.
And you were like, I'll buy this film.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
Take
cool.
my money.
And so you go into this environment and you have to...
You've got 5 minutes.
and so you turn it into a show.
You do. And the thing is, I've just been doing months of comedy festival where you come on, you say a joke and it laughs. I tried jokes on these, probably half the people couldn't understand my accent.
Yeah.
Someone was falling asleep in the audience. Other people were kind of chatting. And like, it's that kind of environment.
So basically you go in and they're treating you with disdain from the
disdain.
word go. Yeah.
And very few laughs. The Lithuanians did laugh.
Of course.
And also, like, I hadn't really considered how hot it would be. Like, it's the south of France.
In the middle of summer.
In the middle of summer. I was wearing thankfully my shirt was kind of light, but there was you could still see the sweat.
You could see it from the outside?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a punisher, eh?
I know.
There's nothing you can do about that either.
No.
Because it's the classic. It's like trying to lower your heart rate when you become aware of it. The moment you know you're sweating, you say, I need to stop sweating, and it makes you sweat more.
You got it.
I used to have that problem sometimes on television, and I would put paper towels under my pits.
I've heard sanitary pads are also very good.
It's not dignified though. See, you look around Monaco, that doesn't give away the
They've
rich
organised
vibe.
it so that they don't sweat. They're never in a situation where it's too hot and it's not perfect.
That's again another like subtle indicator of wealth.
Yeah.
So the Lithuanians are probably talking about you, like you were talking about the Lithuanians, saying, "Oh, they're quirky, slightly eccentric, really love their film
That's
idea."
a really good call.
Yeah. When do you reckon you'll find out, or you just don't know?
We've got. It feels like the Brits are the most impressed by us, and so it's kind of a you're kind of pitching to people who will kind of represent the film in that country, whatever kind of country you're pitching to. So we have to get New Zealand on board now and get all the funding here for them to try to jump on board. That's the vibe of it.
Can I don't tell me anything you're not supposed to, but is the film, because Loop Track was kind of like there were comedic elements, but it wasn't strictly a comedy, right? So when people said, "Oh my God, Tom Sainsbury's making his debut," like it wasn't designed to be a laugh a minute or anything. So is this film, what sort of genre would it?
Maybe it's similar. Like, I think it's really funny. It's basically the kind of premise of it is like a foreign exchange student living with like a New Zealand dairy farming family
in a microstate. Okay.
In a microstate. That is exactly. And I just love, my whole obsession is the New Zealand character and how New Zealanders behave. Like, I've spent years thinking about it. So it's all my kind of comedy. So we'll see.
That is interesting, because I'm sure people ask you this when you think about this when you're touring. And I wondered how because so much of your comedy relates to the New Zealand psyche and New Zealand personalities and stuff. Do you ever stress about how well that translates to other countries and cultures?
100%. In fact, it was only this year, 2024, it was the first time I performed in Australia, going, how am I going to be taken in Australia?
See, the problem with Australia is that there are so many Kiwis as well.
That's
right.
Not
the problem, but
right.
Yeah.
But I would do a shout out. I'm like, who here's New Zealand? Who's in have a gag around that? And it was always about a quarter would be Kiwis and the rest would be Australians. And I just think Britain, Australia and New Zealand are so culturally similar. Totally. It's just product difference.
Yeah.
But how we kind of, and I'm speaking of the kind of the white Western kind of vibes, I think that translates. It's interesting. I did a video of the best video I've ever done. It's got 2.5 million views, and it's just a stupid one of someone eating chips but making like a real kind of performance of it, like just like brushing their fingers and brushing their mouth and getting rid of the crumbs and just doing it like this.
And then repeating.
And just like, just pull yourself together.
Yeah.
These people. But it's done so hugely in America for some reason, and specifically with like African American culture. And so it's like I've got all these kind of African Americans kind of following me, and then they kind of get the Kiwi. I know. And then back in the day, I did this gag about a woman like cutting her hair and herself, and she couldn't quite get the levels right, so it just went shorter. And that got millions of views in South Africa. I don't know what, like, who knows? Like, there must be hair comedy in South Africa. So I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I must admit, I was slightly concerned when you said you were talking about white Western vibes. I thought, oh,
Yes.
where's Tom going in this interview?
No.
Yeah. So if the Brits are maybe interested when you're pitching, they can kind of appreciate that.
Yes.
More than some other cultures or would necessarily pick up on that humour.
100%.
Yeah.
And probably Brits more than Australians. Like, we've kind of pitched this idea because it's all about comedy of manners and like passive aggression and not being able to really communicate your feelings, as New Zealanders want to do. And so, like, the Australians haven't really vibed with that. They don't really understand. They're like, why are they behaving like this? I'm like, you don't get it, but the Brits do.
Can you distill where you pick up those quirks in our national character? Like, are you just at a movie night and someone has a funny thing with chips and you pick up on it? Like, is it a conscious thing or is it just...
It's all a variety. I think the chips thing is it is. That's an observation.
That's an observation, right?
Yeah.
But so at some point
I've seen someone going to town eating chips.
Yeah. And you've thought, I can do that and that's funny.
Or more like mild irritation that sits with me going, why am I eating like that?
Yeah.
And it's also like so stupid. Like, who am I to judge?
But there must be a kind of, like, are you conscious? Do you go about the world thinking, like, with your eyes wide open, looking at everyone going, oh my gosh, look how they're reacting? Or does it just kind of happen by osmosis?
Osmosis a lot, but when you're kind of in the zone of making regular or daily videos, you're kind of attuned to it. So when something does come into your consciousness, then you put it away into the diary.
It strikes me that you are just doing so much stuff, or at the very least, you have been involved with so much stuff over the last couple of years. And I mean, no one thinks anyone gets into comedy to make gazillions of dollars, but are you in a position where you're saying no to stuff? Do you feel like you can say no to stuff?
Emotionally, I don't think I can. Compliance and psychologically is really important to me, complying to people. I'm being compliant. But I can, it would be a lot better if I did say no to things just for scheduling and stuff. And I can, financially, I could. Yeah, so financially I'm fine. And
but I mean, even creatively, like, do you feel like you can say, you know what, that's actually not right for me right now. I really want to focus my attentions here. Because you're making films, you're doing your comedy stuff, you're doing stand up, you do stuff on social media, plus you're writing plays. You're doing everything. Yeah.
Yes, it's complicated. I should be a lot more kind of savvy about that, and I should restrict myself. But
not necessarily.
I do, like, most of the ideas I'm really buzzing with, and then I get to a stage I'm like, oh, I'm swamped, and I have to say no to the next project, and then someone pitches something to me, and I'm like, that is good.
Yeah.
And
Well, speaking of, even though we've had the comedy festival this year, I love this idea. 3 nights, right? Right. Basically, we're having a midwinter celebration. Yes, you've been roped in. Just give us the details. What's the plan?
So I'm hosting an evening on the 22nd of August, down at the waterfront at the ASB. Look, I should know these details, but
It's fancy theatre.
It is. Yeah. The flags. I'm hosting a comedy gala night. So there's about 10 comedians coming in, and I'm kind of hosting it and running it, and some great comedians like David Korios. If you haven't seen him or know about him, he's a real bonker. I think I can safely say bonkers.
Yeah, he'll take that as a good thing. Yeah.
And then Courtney Dawson's also great. Like, she just is so confident. But there's a whole lot. Like Wilson Dixon, Jack Tame and things. And I'm going to be hosting it, so I'm back and forth on the stage. But the amazing thing about a lineup is all these amazing comedians are only doing like 5 or 6 minutes each, and it's the best of.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So it's like, absolutely. It's kind of snackable. But very funny.
Snackable, very funny, and also like you're on to the next thing before you even realise it. No drag.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Well, we're so excited, and I just think it's a great idea to have it in the middle of winter as like a little beacon of light in the middle of the darkness. We're glad that we've stolen you back from Monaco for the time being, although I'm sure you fit in much better over there. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.